I thought I'd talk a little about basically preparing a bass for some session work, some types of music that you might encounter, and using a foam mute in order to kind of dial in that sound. One, to make it clean in the session so that you're not getting a lot of finger noise, but even more so to kind of duplicate a Motown sound. And to get that on a jazz bass or P bass, one of the easiest ways to do it is just stick foam under the strings and try and get it evenly distributed so that you get a balanced string volumes and deadness to the string. Each one should sound similar in the way it's deadened. The other way of doing it is the traditional Fender way, which is to run the covers for the pickup, and you want to use the bridge one, and you can apply foam to the upper side of the strings, and you're actually sticking it onto the bridge cover so that it comes down on the string. And Fender actually reproduces the foam that they used to use, and it's basically the same stuff that they use as the pickup support foam. It's a single sticky back foam that you can apply underneath that bridge cover, and it works really well. What you want to do is make sure that you've got the foam as close to the bridge saddles as possible, where the foam is still deadening to the degree that you want, but you don't want to bring it too far forward onto the body because it'll set everything out of intonation, and then all of a sudden as you move up the neck you'll be playing out of tune more than you would think is possible, but it actually can be really annoying and detrimental to a session. So the main thing you want to do is try and keep that piece of foam fairly close to the bridge saddles, within an inch or less of the bridge saddles, so that you get the deadening tone that you want, but without going out of. You want it to stay intonated so that you're not out of tune at the 12th fret. Basically, the sound it's very Motown. It sounds like probably 70% of what was recorded during those years, and it works well in a studio setting. Live, not so much. You're going to be muting to the point where it can be lost in the mix too much, but when you're recording, it'll actually, you've got all the nuances and high end and nothing distracting your signal. So it'll work well in the studio and give you that sound that you want, that doesn't step on vocals, doesn't become an issue as far as finger noise and string noise and things like that. So you can lay down a nice clean track. And that's sometimes the quickest way to get in and out of a session, is if you don't have to go back and fix things or re-record a section or the whole thing if it's just too clackety or noisy. So using the foam, it just has that real 60s kind of sound. It is Jamerson like. It's like a lot of the guys playing back then. You know, it's probably less a result of them trying to use foam as it was just, you know, round or flat wound strings and dead strings and whatever. But you know, using the foam really can work well if you're in a specific genre of music, and even if you're not. I mean, it works a lot for some of the rock stuff. It works well for even disco and things like that, what I was just playing. And once again, it makes it clean and full, but not sending out transients in the mix that can be problematic for other instruments or the vocal. So think about trying the foam. I usually will have, well, I have a couple of jazz basses and some P basses, and what I'll do is I'll always reserve one that's set up with flats and the foam, and that one, you know, just stays that way. That way I don't have to change strings if I'm, you know, trying to go to a session that has a different, you know, sound than the previous session. And that way I just grab that bass, goes in, does what it's supposed to do, goes back in the closet until the next time I have a you know, Motown-like session. But I would say don't be afraid to give it a try. It may at first seem underwhelming because you're getting, you know, a muted signal, but to be honest, it's very usable, and it's something that's been in the forefront for the last 50 years or more, so probably 70 years. Anyway, give some foam a try once in a while.